Okay, I am way too invested now in Brigitte Macron's story not to speak about it myself as well. This has to do with some insane, immoral and just evil things that are happening in Europe, particularly in France. So of course I can't stay quiet about it and I have to add my 3 cents. If you follow my channel, you know I'm Polish, living most of my life in Cyprus, and I usually comment on how crazy things are in America compared to Europe. Well, sadly, Europe has gone completely insane and my next episode will be focusing on that fact exactly. But let's get back to the topic of French Candace Owens' series Becoming Brigitte is holding all our thoughts hostage. There is a few-hour time difference between Cyprus and the US, but I stay awake till 11 p.m. just so I can watch it. It is explosive. But if there is still someone in the world out there watching this video right now that doesn't know who Brigitte Macron is and why Candace Owens created a documentary series about him, I'll give you a very short summary. Very short. By the way, look at the Candace Becoming Brigitte series cover and Michelle Obama's book cover. I dare to say it is not a coincidence. Can we expect an investigative series into Obamas in the future? I hope so. Season 2, Obama. Michael becoming Michelle. Anyway, Brigitte Trogneux, now Brigitte Macron, allegedly the first ladyboy of France, met Emmanuel Macron, the current president of France, when he was only 14 years old. She fell in love with his genius, comparing him to Mozart. Let me tell you, he was no Mozart, but that's another story. Brigitte fell in love with this 14-year-old boy when she was 39 years old. Yep, almost my age. And then married him. And now she's the first lady of France. This already is a story that should have ended with a life sentence. Brigitte is a PDF file. This on its own should be something that people find unacceptable. But Brigitte has a little secret. Candace Owens and other investigative journalists claim that the First Lady is actually a he. It is almost certain at this point, but for legal reasons I will say still. It's alleged that Brigitte is actually Jean-Michel Trogneux, a little boy you see in this picture who transitioned into female and stole the name of his sister Brigitte, who we also see in the same picture, the family picture here. Do you believe it? I absolutely do. And today I'm going to share with you why I believe it and my own insane theory, because Candace infected me. I'm in the rabbit hole. I also want to speak about the coverage of this story by media. So let's get right into it. First of all, I want to look at this picture again. Many people pointed out the resemblance between Brigitte today and the old photograph of Jean-Michel. So they speak about the dimples, the ears, the hairline, the nose. Well, apparently the picture was edited and there are some signs that the teeth of the little boy were photoshopped as well. So I imagine his teeth would have a gap in them or be crooked, like we see in some of Jean-Michel's photographs. However, there are two things that stand out to me in this photo when I analyze the resemblance between Jean-Michel and Brigitte. Please look at his tongue. The tongue thrusts forward when smiling. Basically, anytime we see Brigitte smiling, you can see her tongue thrusting forward. This is the type of thing you can't control. You can't change unless you start working on it with your dentist or orthodontist from an early age. So have a look at Jean-Michel. He has exactly the same tongue thrust when he's smiling. You can't unsee it. I posted it on my Instagram story and I got thousands of shocked reactions. Hence, I think not many people noticed this before. Obviously, Brigitte already had face feminization surgeries and she fixed her teeth, but the tongue thrust is still there. Like I said, it's not something that can be easily changed when this is the natural way your mouth is. There is another thing that I've noticed. The eyes and the size of them. Let's humor the lies of the French government for a second and let's say Brigitte and Jean-Michel are two different people, okay? Just for a second. Even if they were twins, coming from one egg, their features wouldn't be identical. There would be slight differences in their appearance, but you would be able to tell it's two different people. If not genetics, then position in the mother's womb can change the face shape, nose shape, and so on. What I've noticed in this picture is that Jean-Michel's eyes are not even. You can see the eye on our left smaller, almost lower than the other one, more almondy shape. Once you see it, it becomes the only thing you see. Nobody's face is perfect or perfectly symmetrical, so this is very normal. Well, guess whose eyes are exactly the same way? Obviously, Brigitte wears a lot of eye makeup and had a lot of cosmetic work done on her, but you can still see the eye size difference in the pictures. Anyway, there is another picture of Jean-Michel as a child. You can first of all see the eyes again. It's the same thing as in the other picture. Come on, how can anyone say that this is not the same person? Look at the resemblance, and this time with the teeth gap on both, young and older version. There is no doubt in my mind. Especially that Candace Owens, in her recent published episode of Becoming Brigitte, interview to Xavier Possard, I think I say it correctly, I don't know, who found this picture of Jean-Michel Trogneux. This is the bomb. Come on! It is the same person. You can't just tell people to ignore it. You can tell all of us we are wrong, or as Candace says, not to believe our own eyes. The mouth, the face shape. There is also like this little mark on the side of their face, which is hard to see in this resolution, but at minimum they are cloned. Okay? The technology progressed so much, it is so advanced that they created the same person in a male and female form with the same genetic code. So okay, say we all agree. Jean-Michel is Brigitte Macron. How did they pull it off? There are hundreds, if not thousands of people involved in making sure the truth stays hidden. I had to create my own genealogical tree to understand exactly the family connections here. Everything with dates on it. As Candace reveals in her series, Brigitte claims to have married André-Louis Ozier. The guy is a complete mystery. There are almost no pictures of him. Nobody knows what he looked like. The only picture we have is this one from their alleged wedding in 1974. This next to him is supposed to be Brigitte Trogneux, which many say it's not. So they got married in 1974, allegedly, like I said, and had 3 children. Sébastien in 1975, Laurence in 1977, and Typhon in 1984. Let's look at those kids, what they look like today, shall we? So you can see Sébastien and Laurence, look at my French, they kind of resemble their father, okay? You can see the mouth shape, the teeth, it's like very specific shape. They do resemble him a lot. This is him and Sébastien, this is him and Laurence. But Typhon looks different. She does resemble Brigitte, but you can't really see André, like in the case of the other siblings. Maybe I'm reaching, but could Typhon and the rest of her siblings have different fathers/mothers? Am I reaching? Maybe, but my journey into their genealogical tree continued. So while Brigitte and André were having their kids in 1980, 4 years before the birth of their daughter Typhon, Jean-Michel, Brigitte's brother, got married to Véronique Dru. I tried so hard to find her picture. I did not succeed. There is one tiny blurry picture of her. I'll show you later on another tree. I'm good at research, but this woman's identity has been buried, okay? But why? Could it be that Jean-Michel, aka Brigitte, and Véronique had a child together? Could it be Typhon? I know it sounds insane, but the deeper I went, the more I believed that. 1. Brigitte and Jean-Michel are the same person. 2. André-Louis Ozier and Véronique and Jean-Michel/Brigitte were really close. Like, really close. So close that maybe at some point they did not know who fathered what kids. Is this something I can prove? No. Does it sound insane? Yes. Is it completely unbelievable? Strangely, no. Véronique and Jean-Michel Trogneux had a child, Jean-Jacques, in 1982. 2 years after their alleged super secret, almost as if it never happened wedding. This is Jean-Jacques. Look at the picture. So many people say that he resembles Emmanuel Macron for some reason. And there is a theory saying that Brigitte Trogneux, now Macron, is a father of Emmanuel Macron. It has been insinuated in few versions of this conspiracy theory, okay? I'm not sure. Yeah, they could be somehow related, and I'm sure this was investigated by so many already. But I actually believe the mouth, the crazy eyes, I see Brigitte. Jean-Michel and Véronique also had a daughter, Valérie, in 1984. Same year as Typhon's date of birth. Weird. But could this be true? Could Jean-Jacques and Valérie actually be half-siblings of Sébastien, Laurence, and Téphon? Did they do like a dice toss or heads or tails round to decide which kid will be placed where in the genealogical tree? I know it sounds insane, and again, all this is alleged. France doesn't need to come for a little YouTuber from Cyprus now. I'm sure they have more important things to worry about. But there is another theory that's very appealing, and I'll show it to you on a chart because I know it's hard to keep up with all these names and all the dates. So let's look at it together. Here we are. So we have Jean-Michel, and you can see the transition through all these kids and all these lovers and all these marriages. So let's see. Jean-Michel allegedly had children with Catherine Odieu, something like that. And those are the three children, the Sébastien, Laurence, and Téphon, okay? You can see the resemblance of the kids with the mother, alleged mother. And then we have on the other side kids with Véronique, Jean-Jacques, and Valérie. Makes sense. So during those years, Jean-Michel transitioned and became Brigitte, married Emmanuel. If we see photo to the left, so the person that was alleged to be Brigitte's ex-husband, apparently Jean-Louis Ozier, married to Suzanne Spray, who is in the wedding picture, okay? So why did French government say that this is Brigitte with her ex-husband? Why are they releasing these photos as if it was really her in the past? And we can see it's not her. We're not stupid. She also released pictures of her being a young girl, being a little girl, and it turned out it was her daughter's pictures. So it really doesn't look good for Brigitte. It doesn't look good for the government, for Emmanuel, for this whole family, for France, okay? So yes. This is also a very compelling version of what happened with the Trogneux family since the 70s. I'm sure that whenever the whole truth will come out, whenever all those allegations will be either debunked or confirmed, it will blow our minds. I don't think that current investigations happening in this case are far from discovering the whole truth. But we have to ask, if Brigitte is in fact Jean-Michel, why not admit it? The thing is, for years now, we suffered from liberal madness. And I believe that if Brigitte came out as trans like 3 years ago, at the top of the trans rights movement, the democratic society would make her a national hero. Someone who had to hide their real identity in fear of not being accepted is finally speaking out. I'm telling you, this story would be a fairy tale for leftist media. Just remember the Olympic Games, Macron partying with LGBTQ people in the White House. I'll tell you why it could not come out. Because then a trans person would have been a and this narrative doesn't suit Democrats. They keep arguing that LGBTQ community are not predators, that we make all those stories up. But what about Brigitte's kids? How do they view the whole thing? How does it affect them? Well, we finally heard from Téphon, one of the youngest daughters of this group of people. Telegraphy wrote, Téphon's year was only 10 years old when she learned that her mother, who worked as a teacher, was seeing a student 25 years her junior. Brigitte was still married at the time, so her 3 young children had to endure constant speculation about forbidden relationship in Amiens, northern France. I learned a lot about human nature then. I know that in these moments we must focus on what is important and move forward, ignoring the criticism. And there was everything: attacks, rumors, punishments. At that time there were no such things as social networks, but we lived in a small provincial town. Everything was known. Despite this, we held our heads high. I am an open-minded woman. I want to move forward and have gained a lot of tolerance. She learned about human nature, meaning 40-year-old man hitting on a 14-year-old boy. I thought this was called something else. Wait, what's the word I'm looking for? Statutory. She says they held their heads high and she gained a lot of tolerance. For what? Men and women grooming kids? Is this what we are supposed to accept? What about child brides, for example? Is that human nature too? When old man marries an underage girl? Is that something we should become more tolerant of, Téphon? The only reason this is even being said is because Brigitte and Emmanuel are still together today. If this alleged love story ended years ago, it wouldn't be considered as romantic by anyone. And that's why leftist media claim that anyone accusing Brigitte of being a man or displays transphobia or ageism. If you're not trans, how is it transphobic? First of all, here's a little snippet from Independent UK. Many commentators have said the obsession with their age gap is an example of deeply ingrained misogyny, since men in positions of power are frequently married to much younger women. Women, not children. Generally, the media are working overtime to put out the fires set by Candace Owens and Xavier Poussaud. Look at all these headlines. Brigitte Macron was born a man. Candace Owens spreads crazy conspiracy theory about Emmanuel Macron's wife. Another one, why are false rumors about Brigitte Macron being transgender resurfacing? This one, video, Brigitte Macron targeted again by false transgender rumors. And this one, why are false rumors that Brigitte Macron is transgender resurfacing? Media didn't change, but the audience did. We are not stupid. We've learned in the past 5 years that conspiracy theories are usually true, or at least have solid base in the truth, okay? Asking us to close our eyes and not dig deeper, not listen to independent journalists and investigators, not believe our own eyes, as Candace says, yeah, we're too experienced now. It's the court of public, my friends, and be ready to be exposed. But let's read a bit more about what it was like when the news about the affair came out. So Telegraph article continues. Magazine Paris Match describes how Téfon was a child when the scandal broke. Young Emmanuel Macron often rang Ozier's doorbell. So the rumors grew stronger, and of course they had an impact on the 3 children who were in that house. Her sister, Laurence, was 17 at the time and was a colleague of Emmanuel Macron because they are the same age. Ozier said the forbidden relationship rumors were terrifying for all the children, including her brother Sébastien, who was 19 at the time. They were all students at La Province, a Roman Catholic high school in Amiens, where Brigitte studied drama. She also revealed that she was terribly hurt by claims on social media that her mother, Brigitte, was born a boy. So now she says this. That's Téfon. I was concerned about the kind of society we live in when I heard a story circulating on social media that my mother is actually a man. Just look at the confidence with which such thing is said and the credibility given to such a statement. How to resist misinformation on social media networks, said Ozier, a lawyer by profession who now lives in blah blah blah. She was concerned about the society we live in because they were accusing her parent of being a liar. But she was not concerned about Brigitte being a predator. This speaks volumes to me. But you can't blame her. She was brought up in this mess. Everywhere, trans people, secrets, bonus siblings. You don't know who you are related to. Must screw with your view of the world. Whatever the truest truth is, we can all agree on one thing. This whole family is messed up and should not be ruling a country. I want to encourage you to give Candace Owens' docu-series Becoming Brigitte a chance, because whatever I talked about here is a tiny part of the research and information presented in her episodes. I'm linking her channel in the description. I don't know what else will be revealed in the series, but I can't wait to see. And another thing I can't wait to see is watching Brigitte's side of the story. Because look at this, BBC wrote, the life of France's first lady, Brigitte Macron, is to be the subject of new TV series. Production company Gaumont said the 6-part series entitled Brigitte, a Free Woman, of course, would trace the storybook journey of Emmanuel Macron's wife. The series will start with the first meeting of the couple, one of the series writers said. No official dates yet, we don't know when it is going to be released, but I'm waiting. The whole internet is waiting. We will compare notes, exchange information, and notice any holes in the story. But as usual, I want to hear from you guys. Do you believe that Brigitte Macron is the same person as Jean-Michel Trogneux? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it, and of course subscribe to my channel so you never miss another Daily Freddo episode. And for even more content, follow me on Instagram @DailyFreddo. That's all for today. Have a good one.